A woman from hell, a woman who broke my heart. Mariah May, you sick bitch! Women of wrestling, lend me your ears. If you want to go face to face, tit to tit, I'm not hard to find, darling, for God is a woman and her name is Timeless.
Welcome to the Glorious Pro Wrestling Podcast, where two nice boys talk about pro wrestling. I'm Andy. With me is
Danny. We're here.
Danny's here. Danny's happy as can be. Revolution. So excited.
It's been a long week. So AEW Revolution. As we're fucking talking about it, the fallout's occurring.
I know.
On Dynamite.
Haven't seen a thing except for one spoiler.
So if we make any predictions, we'll look like idiots if we're wrong.
Yeah.
And we know you guys love that. And so we're just gonna fucking give you what you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just fucking shove it into your hole.
They sure
choice.
will.
Your choice.
Of choice. Yeah. Just pick one or two.
Speaking of holes, I don't know. I was gonna segue into. I didn't think of how I was gonna segue that, but I thought it would really come to me.
Speaking of holes. Hologram came out and
came out. Great, Andy, you fucking nailed it. Great job,
man. No, what did you think like overall of this show?
I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. I really haven't been enjoying the TV product.
Yeah, you were telling
from
me.
week to week. And I usually, when I evaluate stuff like that, I guess I will specify, like, I usually kind of start at the top, and when it's like, oh, how's that going? What do you think of that company? I immediately start to think of the world title scene.
Mm-hmm.
And since I don't like AEW's world title scene, I'm usually like, dude, it's struggling. Like, it's not that cool. The wrestling's cool, but like, story-wise, just like, molasses. Yeah. And I kind of feel that way. I kind of feel that way about the end of the pay-per-view. However, the majority of the chunk was very good wrestling. Yeah. And I thought also pretty decent story-wise too. With kind of that main event being kind of an outstanding...
What it was.
Yeah, kind of being what it was.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that, but honestly, like, when you look at the card, which I didn't, because I, again, have not really been paying attention, it's pretty solid. A lot of title matches, right?
Yeah, like not almost every title was on the line.
Only one that wasn't was a very good Hanger and MJF.
Yep.
Which was a very good non-belt match. So,
and I had that good story. That one had
right. And it opened the pay-per-view, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
So yeah. Overall good. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked it. I think I'm in the same boat where that main event sure was something.
Dude, it bums me out.
It does.
And for those of you who didn't watch Revolution, what we had was Edge and Mox. Pretty loose referee discretion.
Yeah,
I don't remember it being a no DQ
into that finish,
but it might as well be a no DQ.
Yep.
And at the end, we kind of got Christian cashing in, which I would have been fine with.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of undersells Christian a lot.
Yeah.
The way that Christian did about 3 minutes of the match before Jon Moxley chokes him out and retains the title.
Yeah.
Against Edge. And then against Edge and Christian. I I liked how Christian was just trying to pin him with his
That
hand.
was great. I love that.
I could have used a lot more of that.
And if he would have acted like he was out, but hand on Edge,
I was hoping for something like that too. That was like completely
where
not
where
definitive.
Mox can't even tell.
If it was gonna be more in, like, yeah, not if it was gonna be so not definitive that you could have like maybe played with that. I don't know.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
But it was clear. Mox choked him out. Retains.
Mm-hmm.
Swerve stomps him at the end. We're gonna go Swerve Mox.
Right.
For the title.
Right. Which is good. I like that.
It has to be the end. Is the only reason why it's good.
It has to be.
It has to be the end.
Yeah.
I could have gotten down with a Adam Copeland title run.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't pull the trigger, which is kind of like the biggest right now gripe with the world title scene, and it's something fresh. At this point, Adam Copeland would have been a good choice just because it's different, just because it's fresh.
Star power. Sheer
and
star power.
We could have used the Christian angle, do the Christian angle for a bit. A lot of things that they could have done. What they did is keep it on Mox. Keep it on Mox just for a little bit longer. Why? Why are we keeping it on Mox?
I don't know. Somebody must love that angle out there. I find it surprising that he's even a part of this, Jon Moxley, with kind of his other title reigns. I mean, he's like, I'm a fucking wrestler, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'm a fucking grizzly, I'm the baddest. I'm Harley Race, you know what I mean? I'm fucking the old school guys, you know, day in, day out. And seeing the opposite of that, I was like very open to. And now it's just gone on too long where it feels pointless. God, they had a Wheeler Yuta run out, and they didn't really even tease that he was going to do anything to Moxley. After the go-home show, Wheeler Yuta gets the sign of respect from Edge and like gets cussed out by Jon Moxley. So you're like, oh, this is a shitty seed to plant. Like, that's how it'll happen. Wheeler Yuta will come in and he'll turn on Mox and Edge will get a cheap win. So you're like, okay, here it comes. It didn't happen, which is great. But they didn't even tease the fact that he would even do anything to Moxley. He just came
immediately
straight out.
Hits the knee to Edge.
Yeah, he didn't even miss it. It wasn't even a miscommunication where Edge ducks it. And then Jay White's out there immediately. Yeah. And he botches. Well, it's not he biffed Yuta and nails Edge.
Right.
Adam Copeland.
Which is where I think the match should have ended.
Sure. That's one spot. And then he kind of fucking hightailed it out of there.
Yeah,
Jay White more or less was like, oops, and then was like, oh, I'm gonna fucking leave this scene.
Him and
Yuta gonna be mad at me.
And they start brawling out to the back.
Kind of, yeah.
But it's like, how cool would it have been to even have Jay White part of take the clipboard from Christian and cash that thing in?
Well, we just want to see Jay White as world champion.
Well, yes.
So any angle you and I can get for that.
But it would have been
we're going to say is better than what happened.
It would have been a cool change to have, and to not only take it from Christian, you put validation on the quote unquote Money in the Bank, because that's what it is.
Yes.
And now Christian cashed it in, first time that it gets cashed in, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
How?
They're probably not going to run that angle again.
I was going to say, like, do they keep doing this?
They're
but
probably
they've
not going
had
to do
so
that
many
again.
iterations of a Money in the Bank style thing, the golden ring, the
face of the Revolution.
Yep,
remember that?
Like, why even do those?
Yeah, they ultimately go nowhere with AEW, and honestly, in WWE, they kind of ultimately go nowhere. They really struggle with, like, when they happen, and they really, really matter. But usually those cash-ins are terrible, if not formal.
Right.
If not like, I'm going to cash this in at SummerSlam. And it's like, that is not the point of that. Like, the point is like spontaneity
of it. Yeah.
The point is like, oh, he may win, but he may lose because there's someone around. And like, usually it just gets lost. Anyways,
I mean, for the amount of weeks, if not, I mean, at this point, months of Christian teasing that thing, that clipboard, and
that was a gauntlet match.
Yeah, he won the gauntlet match.
Yeah. And, you know, I fucking want more Christian, honestly. Not really patriarchy, but I want more Christian on TV. Like, I would also be okay with him doing a world title run because his TNT title run was great.
Yeah. And it
now look where that fucking
title
belt is.
run.
That belt's on the 0 Hour show, not even being defended. It was in like a multi-man.
It sure was.
God, dude. Like, fuck that belt. Get it out of here.
Yeah.
You don't need it. Sorry, Danny Garcia. But
let's start from let's go back to the beginning here.
Ooh. Way to drop it. Way to drop baritone. Let's go back
0 Hour. Did you watch it?
I saw that multi-man match. I saw the fucking the good guys versus, it was like Orange Cassidy, Mark Briscoe, and
the last one.
Yeah, the last one, and the Costco guy. Obviously I hated that.
Yeah.
What else was on there?
Didn't they have the guys from Righteous Gemstone come out?
Dude, that whole end of it was just a mess of things to come.
Yeah.
But yes, and it was almost like nobody else talked. It's like half the people in the ring knew that was going to happen. The other half of the ring like did not know that they were going to be like, these guys are front row, we're going to pull them on. They're going to do a thing. Oh, right, because it was against Johnny TV and MXM, who I like. All three of those.
And a great combo.
Yes, a great combo. Great trios. Harley Cameron came out, ran some interference too. Harley's come a long way, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
They found something there. But God, just I texted you. I was like, this fucking 0 Hour gets a fucking down. It was just because of that, because of the TNT thing. Just how many multi-mans are you gonna do?
Yeah,
waiting for. I don't know why I was waiting for Wardlow to come out at some point in that pre-show. Whether that was with Undisputed or just, I don't know. Where's that guy been? You know what I mean?
I think he's hurt.
Yeah, right.
Still he's been hurt. Yeah.
Man, such
a Jericho and Gravity stuff was pretty good.
He unmasked
title
Gravity.
Didn't go anywhere. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no. Then Hologram was out there as well. Was he not?
No, Bandito.
Bandito had a match earlier.
Bandito was part of the Gravity angle.
Well, yeah, he came out because Gravity is his.
Hologram had a match earlier with.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Big Shotty.
Oh. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The tag.
Oh yeah. Shane Taylor Promotions. Shane Taylor Promotions. That should be the Don Callis family.
You think so?
Well, I think they should be functioning in the place of that faction. Because they have the infantry, they have Lee Moriarty, and they have fucking Shane Taylor. Like,
yeah,
that's kind of a rough group. That's kind of a ripping group of dudes.
Yeah.
I've especially come to really enjoy the infantry's work.
The infantry has been really good.
And if Trisha Dora can be there when she was in the infantry, that was fucking sick. Yeah, but no, they fucking were against like
Daniel Garcia and
okay, so that was that. That was the
Daniel Garcia
2.0. Oh no,
Adam Cole.
It was Undisputed
Kingdom, or Undisputed, just Undisputed.
I hope so, but I think they're
Kingdom
still using the
anymore.
Kingdom thing, even though the Kingdom is not anywhere near them.
Yeah,
Matt
they're
Taven
gone.
and Mike Bennett, who knows where they went? That's they got to reboot that shit to get back to Undisputed Era type shit. Because I'm down with it without Bobby Fish, because it was without Bobby Fish in NXT.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think like overall, that pre-show, most of it could not
was garbage.
It was very pre-show stuff.
Yeah, you know? And I guess that's Well, okay. So here, would you like that, or do you want to see Big E eat sandwiches and pastries? Because that was pretty fun walking around Toronto with Big E.
I would like to know what kind of pastries are around Crypto Arena in LA, because
I bet you would.
Probably nothing.
Probably nothing. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't know. Anywhoots, yeah.
Anyway,
I've grown accustomed to not liking the pre-show anyway, though. So
yeah, it just seems like
it's Rampage.
Yeah, it's like kind of.
It's just Rampage.
You turn it on. You're waiting for the cool show. You're getting your snacks together. You got some cool mentions happening, but you're not really paying attention. It's just
right,
getting the vibes started. Which is kind of surprising that they went with the Jericho Gravity to actually have an angle, which is cool. Made it more cool. I want to watch this.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
But then the last one was just super fucking
weird.
Random stuff happened.
I would use the term messy.
Messy. Very messy.
It was messy.
But what wasn't messy was the start of this.
Hanger and Max.
Hanger and Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Yeah. What's funny about that is after the pre-show I was like, man, I really hope this is good. Cause yeah, it's got a lot. It's really just that match that has been riding on this whole thing, which has only been going on for a month?
Probably, if that, yeah.
I think like 4 TVs, 4 episodes.
Yeah.
I think is when they teased it for a while in January. But I think most of the, promos and stuff has been this month. So it makes sense. So good amount of time. The build has been great. Okay. The match was fantastic.
The match was great. I love the fact that MJF. I like the battle, the two battles of no matter. Dude, Hangman has done obscene shit compared to Max.
Absolutely.
Max. And 100%. People still like Hangman.
He drugged Swerve with a needle.
Yeah. He burned his house down.
He burned Swerve's house down. He broke into his house.
And still people like Hangman more. And which is super valid for Max to be like, why you? Why you and not me?
It was an interesting character work when he did snap like that. Mm-hmm. Because now that's like vulnerability that babyface Max requires to get you back on his side, and then usually stomps out to turn heel again.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of being better than everyone, you don't really care. And now we're seeing that
he does care.
It was a different look. It was an odd look.
Yeah.
Curious to see where that goes, if that continues. I don't think it will. But There was the pile driver on the chair,
Love that.
which you're just
I
like,
honestly can't remember if
I've
or
seen
where
that,
I've ever seen that.
yeah, probably somewhere in the Indies and we didn't, and we
Maybe.
weren't there. Um,
It was
I
great. That
I
that
hope
spot just made me like, oh shit.
it's kind
And
of shit like that where you're like, oh, cool, this is kicking really into a different gear.
yeah.
There was also, especially since it came with the intention of Hangman was going to tombstone him just on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like going to be on the floor. He turns it and then he's like, oh, there's a chair over there, and like doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, like runs with the pile driver position, and
Yeah.
he nailed it safely and solidly, and it was
It
just
was
like,
it was not what
holy
I expected was
fuck.
gonna happen.
If I also like that Hangman did Angel's Wings.
That was
I hope he keeps that
freaking
in his.
dirty.
Well, yeah, he landed on his
It was a dirty
MGF,
one,
landed on his neck.
but it made it so much better.
I hope he keeps it in his arsenal
Me too.
as like kind of one
And
of
he's
those
been
storm
using it the
breakers.
past since beating Christopher
Christopher
Daniels. He's
Daniels.
been using it. So I
Yeah.
love that he's probably gonna essentially turn that into now his finisher, and using Deadeye maybe more as a transition into that.
Right.
When needed, obviously.
Yeah. So that one was great. I very much enjoyed it. Then we had TBS title, which
Then we had the TBS.
really, if anything, the takeaway from here is that you really can is that Mercedes Moné is really good.
100%.
It's hard to remember that because, like a champion, she wrestles very little, and I hate her promos.
Yeah.
So it's very easy for me to forget. That's kind of the positive takeaway that I have. I thought the wrestling match was solid. The only problem is I did not care about it. I wasn't really invested. It was a super passive way to watch. I knew she was going to win. Yeah. It's kind of when I get into those positions with stuff on cards where I tend to kind of tune out.
Yeah, me too.
But as far as the wrestling goes, it was fucking good.
Yeah, it was really good. I don't know if it's her best recently. I think she's had some better ones.
No, her and Stephanie is like,
yeah. Oh well, yeah.
As of recent, was great.
Yeah. But like her series with Statlander was also good.
Series with Statlander was also good. Yeah,
I think that's what she needs. I think we finally need to get. AEW has now those matches that they can go back on. You have Hangman Swerve. Hangman MJF was also good. That can start something new. Then you have the way Swerve and Ricochet, will get to it, and I think their chemistry is also another one that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your, like, I don't know if I would put Max and Adam Cole up there, but you have those Will and Osprey and Fletcher is another one. Chemistry's there all the time. You can always go back to those matches. Mercedes needs her rival. Mercedes needs,
if not a few.
Yeah.
But it's not like several. You just kind of threw out like a great example of like different ways you can connect different.
We need to finally see that in the women's division and finally see that with Mercedes.
And also,
or else she's never going to look like she's going to lose the title with matches like these.
It's kind of like that's the women's division has gotten a little bit more depth, which was one thing we would gripe about a lot. Now it needs to find, to your point, it's chemistry. Just because you're only as good as that adversary. And really, there's not a lot. If anything, this proved that with that is what makes shit great. Mm-hmm. And that's the Tony and Mariah shit.
That's another one. Yep.
Because that was, I mean, part of it was the spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
That was a horror show. And it was good. It was violent. It was everything it needed to be. they, risky. That cut looked risky.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, you make a great point about you got to find a couple people to build that chemistry. If you're going to stick with one person, you're going to have to make that story go and go and go, a lot like Hangman and Swerve did, into a trilogy, and usually you're done after that. Kind of got to give it a while before you run back another one, or else we get into a Sami Zayn Kevin Owens situation where
you run
they
it
just over and over, and by the time we get to now, we're just like, what the
which is
fuck?
why I appreciate what AEW has done, which is you weave them in and out. Okay,
and AEW is still pretty young, so
yeah, but I mean, they could have also have been doing, Hangman Swerve for the past 6 pay-per-views.
Could have, yeah.
Like, it 100% could have been a thing. They could have ran Young Bucks and Lucha Bros every single pay-per-view up until they left. Like,
right.
But no, I mean, like, it was so good, and I think now we just need to click into the gear of Mercedes and something with more depth for Mercedes.
Yeah, she's really had superficial feuds.
Yeah.
The Statlander one was good. The one with Harley was entertaining. The Willow one to start the whole thing was good. But like in between, not a whole lot. Mm-mm. Like even the Stephanie Vaquer build and shit, not a whole lot. God, who's the Magic Girl?
Magic Girl.
She wrestled the Magic Girl. You know who I mean, though?
Magic Girl.
Yeah, she's from Stardom. She's really small and
Azume.
Okay, and like,
Wait, why am I not? I'm not. Whoa, who is this? I am not.
They feature her on AEW a lot. I'm also bummed I can't think of her name. But there was that, and that had like a very short, very brief build. I think it was off the heels of Statlander.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just not a lot. And when she's walking around with 4 belts, it's like, dude, somebody take that shit away, or somebody sell me on.
Were you talking about Yuka?
Yeah, Yuka Sakazaki.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
The Magic Girl. Yeah, Yuka Sakazaki. That's her fucking thing. Don't fucking give me shit.
No. I mean, she does have a very Final Fantasy like look to her.
That's yeah. They call her the Magic Girl, Yuka Sakazaki.
I've never heard the Magic Girl.
And like her finisher is called like something like that too.
Oh.
Anyways,
it's funny.
The point. Mercedes Moné is really good. Would love to see something more with substance.
Mm-hmm.
Something with more substance. After that, golly, where were we then? Was that was Swerve and Ricochet?
Yeah, Swerve Ricochet.
Yeah, I totally forgot it was for the number 1 contendership.
Yeah, me too, until they said it, and I was like,
did they just slide that in there?
No, I think
it was established on television.
It was always established. Yeah, I just forgot, and then when they said it, I was like, "Ooh, a number 1 contendership on a pay-per-view? That's cool.
That works.
It works. I mean,
that works.
Where else could you have put a number 1 contendership?
Main event
besides a pay-per-view
television.
I mean, yeah.
But this was obviously great. This was good.
This was another good one. Yeah.
There was a swerve with Nana leaving and then coming back. You thought he was going to leave Swerve.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't. And he got his robe back.
There was a moment where I thought that Nana would turn on Swerve.
And you weren't really mad at that, were you?
I wasn't mad at that.
No, I'm not giving Ricochet a mouthpiece is not the thing that I would be mad at.
I would not be mad at it.
I would not be mad at it.
I think it would be cool because then you have Ricochet a little bit more of a cocky winning. Now he's won. Now he has the jacket. And you have Hungry for Blood Swerve.
Sure, yeah. Again, talking about things you can continue.
Mm-hmm.
And who would be surprised if they want to keep the title on Moxley? Here comes someone during the match, and it's Ricochet.
Yeah,
and not one of the Death Riders.
The what did he? Ricochet did the house call, right? From like running on the barricade. That was sick. That was so out of nowhere. The camera angle was perfect. It was just like, damn.
That would then set up. Okay. If you had Moxley and he's talking shit about the whole entire locker room, right? If every time he won, it was somebody else's business getting involved with that, then you might have a thread there. Right? For example, you could use this if Adam Copeland was still dealing with stuff with Christian, which he wasn't, and that was the reason why Christian got involved and kind of screwed him over, John Moxley would be making a point, effectively, right? He would then go to Swerve, and without fully dealing with Ricochet, Ricochet would then cost Swerve the match. John Moxley retains, again making a point.
Yeah.
That's not what it is, but it was just a thought that I had to like slowly fart out of my mouth.
No, I think
then I would be cool with it if that was like if he was trying to make a point about this locker room's in disarray and let me show you why. These guys don't know how to finish the job and get the job done.
Right. Yeah.
Is that what he's been saying? Because what he's been doing has been extremely all over the place as far as my interpretation.
Yeah. And I feel like, I mean, now when you don't have the Death Riders involved, it was a time to pull the trigger. At a moment where he has nobody, he can't get the job done.
But somebody else always does for him. Inadvertently.
Somebody always comes in and helps. But yeah, I mean, Swerve wins and number one contender, which is great. I think that's awesome.
Great.
It's great.
It's great.
Have him take the title. Have him take the title.
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, though. I know. I'm just saying. We'll see. Time will tell. I'm sure we're getting answers as we record, as it's
happening,
as we yap. But that was a great match. Was super pumped. Had a really good time watching it.
Same.
Following that was Hollywood Ending.
No, it was Brody and Okada.
Oh yeah, Brody and Okada, the big boys. Didn't think Brody was ever gonna win. That would have been cool, but this was fun.
Yeah, I think because they were doing like the whole home state Brody King.
Sure.
I thought that they could have done it. Not surprised that they didn't, but it was a good match, and
it was
Okada's chest was beat up.
I mean, it's somebody who can match him size, who outweighs him. It was something a little different than we've seen.
Yeah,
which was great.
And then getting all the like cannonballs, like doing like his friggin' splash
Gonzo
on.
Bomb?
Yeah, it was kind of buckle. No, he does like the extend like splash on the outside in the barricade.
Yeah.
While Okada's like sitting on the chair, like, dude, that cannot be fun. Okada's a big guy, but like Brody King too.
Yeah, man. I saw him at the Armory when Defy came here.
Oh yeah,
he's scary, dude.
Yeah, I mean, fucking huge. Huge dude.
Yeah.
And then he can like, he's bigger than Mortos, right?
Yes.
Like not only taller, he's a bigger guy too.
He's wider.
And going through the ropes.
Yeah.
The fucking rate that he goes, it's like, damn. And I think that's why there were moments where I was like, he could pull it off. I would say, like, if anybody can make it pull off a win over Okada, you just got to make sure that you're not getting hit by the Rainmaker. You get hit by the Rainmaker, you're done.
Right. Yeah. You gotta crumple. You gotta,
but
like,
a challenger like Brody King, I think, could have pulled it off.
you could have kicked out, right?
Don't kick out of the Rainmaker.
You
But I'm
can.
saying,
You can.
no. You don't do that. But I'm saying, like, you allow it to not get hit by it to then pull off the win. And I feel like that could have worked. But in the same thing as Mercedes,
it's been a long title run. Not a lot of, and I'm okay with it being, again, I would love to see at least one of those belts actively change hands.
Mm-hmm.
Like, actively move around the roster.
Yeah. And I feel like this one could have been that.
It could have. I think that's the one. It's not really the TNT title anymore.
They need to get rid of that thing.
I agree wholeheartedly. And because
I heard a rumor that they're consolidating titles or thinking of consolidating titles, and I think the two that could be unified is the International and Continental, which makes sense. But
those are kind of doing okay. That's not the one
those are good. The TNT title is the one that just needs to just end it.
Yeah.
Or unify these, change the TNT to something else. I don't even know what it would be. Yeah. Something else.
A weight division.
Maybe it's a cruiserweight.
Think of, because like it's Japan kind of makes it worse or work.
Yeah.
But
unify the ROH Pure and the TNT and make an AEW Pure.
Sure, or a television Pure, or something where that stipulation can still be.
Yeah, because that's what I miss. I miss those. I like the Pure stipulations.
Wait for it to just become the Attitude Era Hardcore title. I know, but like, doesn't that make sense?
Yes.
He likes the sickos, man. He likes DCW.
Well, he got rid of the freaking Taz's title. He got rid of that one.
I never liked that, though. That FTW championship was bad. I'll just say that.
It was bad. But yeah. Okada wins, Okada retains. Good match. Mm-hmm. Loved it. Next was the Outrunners and
was that
Hurt Syndicate tag team title.
So quick.
And a match I could have done without.
It was pretty standard. I was happy that the tag titles were on the card.
Yeah.
The fact that it was quick is okay. I'm really being generous because I like the Outrunners. Yeah. I like the Hurt Syndicate. I
just don't think
I had trouble seeing the title change hands.
Yeah.
And yes, you were just about to say it, so go ahead and say it.
I just don't think that the Outrunners were the right contenders for this right now. And the way that the match went, I just didn't see them as good challengers.
I think they're great because they have the crowd behind them.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think they can maintain that. But just, you were like, they're not ready for pay-per-view. And I was like, aha, I think there's something there. Just with sometimes this is really critical, everybody. It's just like, wrestling's hard.
We try not to be, but this is a pay-per-view. You're paying.
It's just like they would like wait
$60 for this.
They would wait and almost like know when like the interference was coming, kind of.
Yeah.
You know, like they kind of fix their trunks and be like, here, and look in the direction, you know?
There were some clunky moments.
It was a little clunky. But
I think it was the excitement, pay-per-view, big match.
Just being the Outrunners, you're hyped.
Everyone's like behind you and excited for you.
I still think they're the future.
Hot tag was not hot.
I still think they're the future of the tag division. And I still think MXM is the future of the tag division.
Yeah.
I still think those two will eventually be ruling that shit. So. Maybe not necessarily against each other.
Yeah.
But the Hurt Syndicate's got to get a good run in. I think. I am more interested in them versus I hate the name Murder Machine. Because it's more fitting. It's two more other big Road Warrior kind of guys.
I would have liked that, and I would have liked a continuation to, I think, Private Party losing it and also going for the chase.
Boy, there's just near high nor tail of fucking Private Party after they lost that.
They're gone.
That mediocre, not even less than mediocre title run. They're not on TV. The Bucks aren't on TV.
Which I thought we were getting the Bucks, but
no, you got to do somebody else. You got to do some other stuff. Yeah, do some other stuff.
Yeah,
they're probably on TV tonight.
Private Party would have been great as a rematch that they could have lost again, which would have been fun.
But underdog, right? Like
underdog, yeah. Like you got your ass kicked and lost, and now it's time to be the challengers.
Call your rematch,
for your rematch, again. And you lose, but you don't get as fucking squashed or whatever.
You don't disappear.
Yeah, you don't disappear. But so Hurt Syndicate still champs,
and I'm cool with that.
We're good, and
I think that's a good spot for them.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes from here, right? Because
FTR doesn't seem to be
machines.
Getting involved. It seems like we're going Murder Machines.
Who better?
Yeah, I could use some more Brian Cage on my television too. God, why isn't he a fucking world champion? I will not understand that. I just cannot get that through my brain.
Too many people.
That's the case. That's every wrestling roster.
Yeah. Which is a bummer, but I would say as long as you're signed and happy, you do you.
That latter one is very important. But
yeah. Following that was the timeless Toni Storm.
Was
versus Mariah May Hollywood ending.
Did Kenneth and Konosuke go after that?
Yeah.
Damn, wild.
Yeah.
This was great. This was the highlight of the night.
This was fantastic. My opinion. This should have ended the show. This should have been the
main event.
The fact that they put the end on the top screens,
right?
How do you not end
That's
it?
The punctuation. That's a great way to end a pay-per-view. Anyways, less alone they ended this story. Cody,
how great would it have been? You get the end, lights out with the spotlight. And then a curtain comes down, just a red curtain, like boom.
Right, yeah. And then you start funneling out, and you just be like, "Theater, my dear boys."
Yeah, that would have been like just iconic,
Yeah.
And instead, it's middle of the card.
Middle of the card. But to be fair, I mean, holy shit.
Yeah. No, this was great.
Made the most out of it. They did it great. It started with some shit off of the stage, thank you, into the table that's always there, and you're just like, God, good thing they keep those tables there. Production. Things just escalated from there. Everybody's bleeding. They do a blood sport where they do the reverse tape and they dunked it into the glass.
Oh, I love that. And I love the fact that I love the fact that Tony was the one that was like, I'm doing this, and then Mariah's kind of hesitant, like, I'm doing it too, I guess. Right. I guess I have to do it.
Yeah.
That was such a good match.
There were so many crazy, intense
amount of blood was...
There was a lot of blood.
Pretty Cena levels, Eddie levels.
Yeah. So just if you're listening to this and you haven't watched it and you want to, just
This is the
beware
one.
that.
This is the one you should watch.
I think
from
you
this
should,
show.
but there's a lot of blood.
There's a lot of blood.
It was great.
The angle from the top, like Tony just laying with glass near her. Oh man,
it was great.
The champagne bottle right to the crotch.
Yeah, it was. It's interesting. We wonder where we're gonna go next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a big.
Retains. Yeah,
those are Tony Storm retains. Those are big boots. And they really haven't been building really anyone to step into that light. And it's not for lack of options either. We really just don't see that division enough. Where's Jamie Hayter been? Not on fucking TV.
Yeah.
We see a bit of Megan Bain. Oh, right. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Megan Bain is fresh, doing some shit with Penelope and Thunder Rosa, it would seem.
Which sounds like it was kind of leading up to maybe the number one contenders for one of the titles.
So fast.
Yeah.
But again, they need something for that. Or they bring somebody else in. I don't know who that would be. Would have to be you've got
Becky Lynch.
Pools.
Becky Lynch comes back to dethrone Tony Storm.
No. Sonya Deville?
I don't like it. Hey. The only thing with my gripe with those kinds of things is ex-WWE beating the new champion, becoming champion, another WWE champion.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But I mean, we have that across the board.
It's everywhere.
It's
but
just,
you know what I mean.
Not.
It's just like that feeling of like you just know people are gonna be like, oh, here we go again. Another WWE person that's one.
And and to be fair, they'd be right.
Which is bring her in. They should bring Sonya in, and she should be a contender for one of the championships.
Maybe not right out the bat.
Not right at the bat.
Like that's I don't really love those.
Yeah.
Unless it's like, I don't know. Unless it's like a real fucking powerhouse.
Yeah. Win the gauntlet or something.
Yeah, you still got to do your. They almost played Deonna Purrazzo right. But then
where's Deonna?
She just the fuck appeared.
Yeah.
And then to a point now to where she was in a odd faction, and then they just did a thing where she lost, and they were like, where are you going? She's like, I'm going home. She had like her bags. Fumblerooski.
The other one too that they've been building is Billy Starks.
Oh god.
Which is kind of funny because then you also have Athena. Why not?
Why not
Athena?
Why not
Athena?
Why not Athena? Who's been on a fucking absolute tear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. But yes, the Billy Starks thing, that was almost as ushered as quickly as her opponent, Momo, for this one.
Yeah.
Again, nothing really there yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it kept cutting to her. So
after that was the Kenny and Takeshita match, which was really good.
It was great. It was really great.
It was
tough to follow that the Hollywood ending.
Super tough to follow. But what I really liked about this match was it was slower. And
I
like that they were taking their time with it. It was very New Japan. It was a very New Japan match.
It was. It was leaned into a lot. His diverticulitis,
which I kept messaging you about. I was like, I hope this guy's good
to go, because that was very much the narrative.
Yeah,
And that was very much
they make me believe it.
what he zeroed in on was his midsection and his organs.
Working it so much. I mean, the table spot when the table's like freaking facing up.
Yeah,
just
bummer.
Just like
gnarly.
Getting pushed into the barricade and then like obviously landing on your rib. How safely can you land on your ribs?
Yeah, he looked good though. They both looked good. Kenny for the win. I thought that was the right move.
Yeah.
I think that'll do great for the title. I could see him taking it to Japan and putting it on a New Japan card.
Doing something with it.
I think so. I think he actually will.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Konosuke didn't. It seems like the opportunity is just because Konosuke did that against Yuji.
Yeah, he also put on the line at ML. What is it? Maple Leaf Wrestling. ML.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
The
MLP.
So he did that. So he's done it a few times. I think also
he was a dope champion.
He went to AAA.
He was a dope Intercontinental champion. I hope he now goes after maybe some other gold.
He should.
I mean, him and Okada is not a bad.
No.
That's something you could do a couple times.
Takes it off Okada. He's like, give it to me. He can, and then you have Okada go for the world title. You got to start putting Okada somewhere a little bit more elevated. Make him just. I would say they're doing a good pace of it, where right now he's like this fighting champion, saying, flipping people off and calling them bitch, which is great. But you got to start getting into
sinking your teeth into some shit, or something, engaging.
Yeah.
So, anyways, congrats, love Kenny Omega. It was a great match. I think the right call was made to put the belt on him. I think he'll definitely elevate it. Stoked. I was stoked on that decision.
After that was crazy to follow. Also, not only the Hollywood ending and Kenny Omega, but you have Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher in a steel cage.
Oh, a steel cage? Two men fighting in a steel cage?
Two men
entering and wrestling in a steel cage. Love the finish. Bubba Ray Dudley is what an enigma.
Now this, ladies and gentlemen, is a steel cage.
You guys don't know what we're talking about. There was also a cage match on Raw the night after. CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Did you watch it?
I saw it.
I also saw it.
The suplex from the top of the steel cage?
That's what I thought too! And I was just like, oh, that's the spot? Like that's a great spot. Hey, that's a great spot.
Yeah, it's great.
But it's because we never see suplexes off of the top rope in WWE ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's something so small, and one might argue, well, that's the brilliance of it. I mean, just the way he pointed it out to say that Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher is was somehow not the three things he listed, which was two men fighting, two men wrestling, in a cage.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about, baby.
Two men fighting in a cage, two men having a wrestling match in a cage. Love the finish.
And the finish on Raw.
Love the after.
I didn't love. Roman Reigns pulls Seth Rollins out.
Dude,
against Seth Rollins' will, because neither CM Punk or Seth Rollins wanted to win by leaving, which is a WWE thing.
Yeah.
And not an AEW thing. One of the ways you can win a steel cage match in WWE for forever is by air quotes escaping the cage.
Which you shouldn't. That going through the door should not count as an escape.
Unless you want to. So there were multiple points on the Raw match where they're holding the door open, being just like, come on, pussy, get on out of there. and they're like, "Fuck you! I'll never leave. I'm gonna pin you. I'm gonna definitively, win." And so yeah, Roman Reigns pulls Seth Rollins out, not to save him or anything or to help him, but to fuck him up.
Yeah.
And then end up fucking up CM Punk too.
Yep.
With Paul Heyman there. That's some Raw stuff that we're talking about. This cage match is very different.
Very, very different.
Was it violent? Yeah. Was there blood? Yes. Was there blood on the Raw one? Not to my remembrance. There was not.
Was there?
Do you need that? I don't really know. Do I like it? Yes. So is there a bias? Maybe. Is there a Spanish fly from actually the top of the cage and not the top of the turnbuckle? That's like
insane.
That's scary too.
Super. And the
That's
fact
an
that
intense thing.
The fact that like Osprey just like landed and just like splat just there.
Yeah.
And it was just like, man.
Not to mention they were already fucking around with the screwdriver. Mm-hmm. They had already, I think at that point he had already taken a Styles Clash to the nuts. Yeah. Dude, that was the first thing I was like, he fucking landed right on his nuts on those tacks. Yeah. That's not fucking fun. The emotion as well, if you really want to fucking talk about it, like
that's what I love the most.
His Anakin Skywalker, like, I fucking hate you!
Yeah.
Right before getting the hidden blade. Calling back to all their other matches where Kyle Fletcher always took the hidden blade to the face, which is uncommon for that finisher if you're not familiar. Usually goes to the back of your head. The first time he took it as like a sign of pride. The second time he took it as like a real adversary. And this one was just like the kill shot. It was, I mean, I thought it was fantastic. I don't know why you would disparage. It didn't strike me as anything less. That to me is like what I love about cage matches. Was a lot of what transpired.
Mercedes and this steel cage were the two matches with the most story. I mean the MJF. You mean
Tony?
Too. Tony and this Osprey. I think they were the two with the strongest stories happening. And
I think you're right.
This one, I think, it was just so good because of the emotion of it, and the emotion of Fletcher, the emotion of Osprey too. Of like, you were my brother, but
right, yeah, and they had the run in.
You.
Yeah, they had the run in as well, from the other guy from United Empire. There was, it was great. I thought there were so many great layers, and not too many things rolling around.
Yeah, Osprey doing the Mick Foley was awesome.
Right.
Freaking Fletcher just licking the cage, licking his hand, and then the screwdriver.
All the blood, yeah. And I think Fletcher's he's not a proto star anymore. The dude's just like a star now.
He's a star.
I mean,
he's a star.
Speaking of, again, we're talking about chemistry between
skyrocket
guys. Like, there's a lot of guys you could throw him at, like Hangman, where I think that chemistry would go great. At MJF, whoever you kind of need now, he's kind of a go-to guy. Or climb to a tops on one of your. I don't think a world title yet, but like, start talking to Kenny and seeing what that international title looks like. That seems like a nice next step after that.
Agreed. I feel like now Osprey can be like, okay, well, I just won this, so what's the next thing? Maybe it's a title, maybe it's the world title for him, because it's a big ending, right? For Osprey. So it's like now the next thing it has to be something big.
I agree.
And for Fletcher, it could be, okay, I want a title too.
That's what I was saying. I think he should go
TNT.
I think international. He should go Kenny. He's above the TNT. Let's just be honest.
I know, but elevating the TNT would be nice if they actually did something. And I wouldn't.
I wouldn't mind him in Danny Garcia, but I just don't. After this whole fucking business, they're not on the same level anymore.
They're not.
When they started this shit, they kind of were. And Danny was looking a little bit better with the shit with Jack. It was looking like Danny would move that way.
Yeah.
The gap is in my
off.
mind, the gap is huge.
Which is why I wouldn't hate him in the world title picture. Like, and him perhaps taking and being a world champion, like a young guy who's the heel.
Randall's
as your world champion. I love
heel
that.
Champions are great.
I love that. Talking about championships. Let's go. We started here.
Started here, and now we're back again. After that
John
was
Moxley,
effectively your main event. I'm not mad at John Moxley.
Hey, John,
either.
Not mad at you.
Not mad at Edge either. You know, they had something okay going. You want to talk about slower paced matches, though?
Oh, this was too slow.
This was very crazily slow.
Yeah.
Concerningly slow at some point.
Very TV.
When John Moxley's spending a lot of time talking to the camera, it gets me thinking like, uh-oh. Edge broke his fucking leg the last time he was in something like this, which was the cage match with Aleister Black.
Yeah.
So confidence is a little shaky on the durability there. Yeah. He did a similar fucking splash off of now this one was off of the top post down onto the table outside the ring, but he landed similarly. And commentary even pointed that out.
Like, dude, do not go feet first.
Stop doing that. Yeah. Or just don't do the fucking spot. Do another one. This was very slow paced. And also, it was not a hardcore match or no disqualification. But they were doing no disqualification things.
It was feeling like that. And I think I even messaged you. I was like, you should not be able to take out a table. Right. Use the announce tables. You can't take out a table and be...
Also picking up the floor.
Right. Yeah.
These are kind of the things we see. And it's like, okay, in my mind, I'm like, okay, so I'm the ref, right? And I'm...
Hey, put it back. One.
And yeah, right? You're like, okay, you can take it out, but if you use it, we're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's it. Now, the thing that I sent you back was, all these matches we tend to forget are referee discretion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The referee has personal leeway as to when they are going to call the match. They have their own leeway also as to determine when something is or is not safe. Mm-hmm. Because they'll suss out a dude and they'll call it. The guy's not dead or unconscious, but they'll call it. We've seen it.
Yeah.
We've seen it where the guy is close to dead and he calls it. That's something we tend to forget. That is like a key story point, is that it's referee discretion. And on top of that, when we do have title matches, that seems to be very lenient because we want, as officials and as viewers, a definitive winner.
Maybe even too lenient, because Christian hits with the clipboard.
That's a disqualification
right there. There's no DQ.
Well, okay. Yeah. And now I could present an argument that, like, the ref knows what the contract is.
But there should be a DQ, and then he can sign the contract.
And then he can sign the contract, and then he can pin him in. It's a completely different match. You have to ring the bell again. Yes. I know. Yeah.
So, like, I feel like that was part of the whole...
Plot hole!
A lot of plot holes, because this one...
A lot of plot holes.
One, this match should not have ended this show. If you're going to do this, maybe start with it.
But I get why.
Yeah, I mean, world title picture, but hey, you have a women's world title too.
Yes.
That you need
and
to
that
put
was
on.
The superior match.
Superior match, superior story, because that story, I think a lot of people are like, what are like
interested in, and
more interested than whatever Mox and Death Riders has been,
and not,
to
which
the
has
point
not
where
been
even
good.
Cope has said, "Hey, I didn't really understand this at first."
Right.
What?
Yeah.
Like you guys need to be on the same page if you're gonna be doing a story together, or else we're all just as confused as you are.
Or else there's nothing really going on, and what are they? Yeah.
So I feel like that's a big thing, and I think this is one where you should have gauged that feeling of people aren't really liking this, people are kind of bored or whatever during the match, and pivot, whether that's Christian or Edge going over, you pivot and try to get something out of it.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know how quickly. I don't know how quickly you call an audible like that with plans that you make or promises that you give to other people when it comes to fallouts and stuff. I don't really know. Would I have liked the match infinitely better if anybody walked away with that title? Yeah. And that's just, whether it was Edge, whether it was Christian, I would have been like, yeah, fuck yeah, hooray. But instead of ending something, we're just keeping it going.
Yeah. And honestly,
I don't know what's next.
It doesn't get me, I'm not excited to be like, I know I saw kind of a breakdown of what to expect on Dynamite today, and it was like Mox is gonna talk, and I'm like, what?
I mean, Swerve is gonna fuck him up, right? We got to wrap this up so we can go watch Dynamite.
Yeah, but point is, like, I'm just not stoked on continuing Mox as the main title holder right now.
If something good happens, we're gonna do a part 2 very soon.
Something. Oh, unless you know something that I don't.
I don't. I super don't. I super do not.
Cool. But yeah. So overall, what would you rate this?
Overall was great. Overall was good.
What would you rate this out of 10? Let's do a standard 10.
Oh, 10? I would give it a lot. I would give it a 7.8.
Dang, you're going down to the point somethings.
Why wouldn't you just give it an 8? That's how much I didn't like the finish.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say 8.5. I'm gonna go with 8.5.
Yeah, it's pretty high up there.
And that's mostly because I feel like Tony should have ended the show. They should have had, I think the Outriders were a bad choice for the match. And who was the other one? I think like all the other ones were freaking
all the other
amazing.
Ones were freaking good. It was just I didn't care about the Mercedes stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and that one I wanted.
I feel like that was the low point. I feel like the tag was the low point. Really, other than that, I think everything was pretty.
Yeah,
was firing on cylinders.
But it's all quality. Very good. Very good stuff. Cool. So thank you all so much for listening. Let us know what you thought of AEW Revolution.
What do you think of AEW? What do you think of us? What do you think of Andy?
Oh no.
Tell us.
What do you think of Danny?
What do you think?
What do you think? You think? You think?
You think? Because you're listening to Glorious Wrestling Podcast. You definitely think. You have good taste.
Yeah. You're here thinking
but we
with
might
us
not,
because that's what we do.
So tell us.
Tell
us the differences. God, I don't know how you ask for engagement more on a freaking at the end of a podcast more than what we just did.
We're so positive. That's why people listen to us. We're so positive. Hey, listen, we don't dwell on the bad, okay?
We were dwelling pretty hard on the we started with it and then came back to it.
Sure, but like there's things that you talk.
We could be worse.
We could
be worse.
Hey,
we could be so much worse.
But
do you want us to be worse? Let us know.
I like that the things that we do not have fun with or like, we try to make it better. We try to come up with our own ideas for it, which is fun.
Of reflection.
A little moment of reflection.
A little moment of reflection with us.
Yeah, I think
give
that's
us
fun.
feedback. We want feedback.
It's fun instead of being like, this is shit. This is absolute dog shit. You should fix it. It's like, that's not cool.
I mean, we kind of do that.
No, we don't. No, we don't. We don't do that.
Let us know.
But anyway,
let
us know.
On Instagram, Pro Wrestling Network. Go ahead and follow us on Blue Sky. I almost said Twitter. I didn't even say X. I was going to say Twitter. Okay, Blue Sky.
YouTube. Twitch. Pretty much anything. Pacific Wrestling Network. You can catch us there. Ooh, I did want to say something else. There is... I want to get this really quick. A few shows coming up.
Gosh.
We're on the week of March 10th. So this 14th, SOS Pro has a show in Tacoma. Then we have Defy on March 15th in Seattle. POW has a show on the 15th as well in Eugene. And then we got a couple Canadian promotions with Love Pro and Boom Pro on the 28th and 29th. A lot of stuff happening. And then April's going to be pretty crazy.
Mania
month, you're going and doing your thing, and we're
going to
Prestige.
Shows.
We're going to Prestige. Yeah. So
and we'll tell you all about that in the next episode.
Yeah, stay tuned and
be glorious.